gentlemen, your next act, the fantastic Chris Thornhill. Go off 3, 1, 2, 3, go! There he is, he's coming, there he is!
Thank you. I think I'm on last because I think we went in height order tonight, actually. Yeah, I think I'm going to try and trump Izzy's nosediving, actually, because I'm actually going to talk about stuff that's actually quite grim. But my research is, well, it's difficult to place, really. I'm a bit of a slippery fish in academic circles, because my work really goes through literary studies and philosophy and theology. Because, I mean, why do one pointless arts subject when you can do 3? And the way I see it is that I've tripled my chances of never having to do a hard day's work in my life by joining them all up. No, my work really is about tragedy. Ooh, yeah, which is this sort of really fascinating area where art and religion and philosophy all kind of come together. But I suppose the most basic fact about tragedy is well, it's not comedy, is it? It doesn't really relate to comedy. In fact, it's an opposite, isn't it? There's tragedy and there's comedy. And as far as I know, no one has ever attempted stand-up tragedy, partly because, I don't know, no one wants to see it in the pub, or there's probably enough of it in the pub. But the ancient Greeks, really, wasn't it, who invented tragedy? They're who we think of when we think of tragedy. We think of Sophocles and Euripides and these kind of fantastically miserable and despairing plays that they put on. But the weird thing is that the word tragedy in Greek actually means goat play. If you're under this sort of, yeah, true, goat play. Because there was a peculiar custom in ancient Athens where if you were particularly impressed or upset by these tremendous stories of suffering and sadness, then you would buy the playwright a goat as a gift. It was a strange gesture. I can't help but wonder that perhaps they would have just preferred to have the cash. But there you are. But it's not really ancient tragedy that I'm interested in so much as contemporary ideas of tragedy. I'm trying to write a thesis at the moment about a contemporary American novelist called Cormac McCarthy, who some of you may have heard of. He's a fantastically miserable man, writes these incredibly dismal books, has this reputation for being very, very pretentious and repetitive in his writing, but I actually think he's got tremendous range, actually, as an author. I mean, he has his novel No Country for Old Men, the really famous one, which is about, it's a thriller really, about an average guy who gets involved in big money, high stakes drug deals and dies a shocking and violent death at the end. He also has a western novel about a young boy who takes up with a band of outlaws and scalp hunters before dying a shocking and violent death. And a romance too. He has a wonderful novel about a young cowboy who falls in love with a Mexican prostitute. They both die violent and shocking deaths. And then he went into science fiction. He wrote this wonderful novel, The Road, a sort of post-apocalyptic horror novel about a man wandering through a post-nuclear wasteland. He dies of natural causes, actually. So, you know, there's a bit of everything. But he's a bit of a mystery and a bit of a difficult novelist to sort of research, really, because he's a bit of a recluse, doesn't talk to anybody. And in fact, the only person who's ever managed to get an interview with him in public is, of all people, Oprah Winfrey. Yeah, I know. And if you've ever seen the Lance Armstrong interview and thought that was uncomfortable television, you should really see her interview with Cormac McCarthy. It's knife-edge stuff. Yeah, so Oprah chose McCarthy to have him on for her interview because she had his book, his novel, The Road. She chose it for her book club because part of her multi-million-pound business empire includes syndicated book clubs. And I have difficulty with this idea. Like, Cormac McCarthy and book clubs don't really go together in my mind. Obviously there's the erotic book clubs, which we all know about, very serious affairs, but generally in my mind book clubs are these sort of, you know, pretty chirpy, friendly kind of environments of, you know, groups of sort of easygoing people in their mid-30s to mid-40s, getting together, having a nice time, drinking, reasonably priced white wine, maybe some Sainsbury's Taste the Different crisps, and James Blunt CD playing in the background. But when I think about Cormac McCarthy's post-apocalyptic horror novel, The Road, in that situation, I think of those sort of same people, sort of hunched, sobbing noiselessly, or just sort of staring into the middle distance, thinking about those graphic accounts of cannibalism, dog burning, haunted looks. The James Blunt CD playing in the background. But anyway, you can't, it turns out, do your research for a PhD based on YouTube clips of Oprah, sadly. So I had to travel to America. I thought I need to find out more about the philosophy and the theology of this guy's thinking. So I went to Texas, where he lived and worked, and where he's got an archive of all his stuff. Basically, all the shit that his 4 ex-wives don't want in their attics is all in this archive. And Texas is a strange place. It's actually, when I got there, I understood the violence and the sort of dismal vision of this man, because Texas is a place full of remarkable animals and interesting people who are all just waiting for an opportunity to kill you. It's a violent place, a terrible, terrible place. And I remember when I arrived and I got to the airport, and I thought, being very British about it, I thought, I'll walk to my accommodation, I get to see more, I like walk, the distances are long, but I like to see a lot, I can really soak up the place. This is a big mistake, because you can't walk in Texas. No one walks in Texas. It's a road, or it's a place of roads and oil and massive trucks. Even the fucking rattlesnakes have got trucks. And so I sort of set off to find my accommodation, and very quickly sort of found myself wandering down a dusty stretch of desert freeway on my own, being passed by 4 lanes of trucks, rolling my little suitcase along, sweating in the heat, being circled by vultures and buzzards. And I thought, my God, this is where it ends for me. This is my tragic experience in the contemporary world. And I thought, I had a real kind of tragic dilemma there, and I thought, do I just lay down in the road and wait for the animals to eat me? Or do I try and flag down a vehicle and get the whole Texas Chainsaw Massacre experience? I just remembered, there's Americans here. You're not from Texas, are you?
Kansas.
Oh yeah, they're very cultured in Kansas. Nothing like the Texans. But anyway, so I suppose that's about it really. It's my experiment in stand-up tragedy. Thank you for listening. And if you do feel that you would like to show your appreciation in some way, please, no goats, cash is fine.